Right, here we go. Got it.
Hello!
Hi.
We're going live with Antoine McKay here.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, all. Good morning.
So I want to, we've known each other really just since last summer.
Well,
right?
but I've known of you. That's so interesting because I thought about this morning. I was like, how long have I known Kevin? I've known of you for about 10 years. Mm-hmm. Like just your work with people and
I knew of you before I met you.
Right. And so I knew, like when I Facebook friended you like years ago, mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this guy, this is the guy everybody's talking about. And you were doing some really great work at the time, and as you always do. And it's yeah. So I've known of you for a long time, man.
Yeah.
And you've been crushing it.
But we had, that was a great first experience, though.
Yeah,
that
it was
real
fun.
First experience.
Yeah, we did a show together. It was fun. It was great.
But I don't know if I ever really got your story. Like, how did you get involved in improv? Or was it comedy first and then to improv? Or?
Actually, it was. I was a classically trained actor.
Okay.
I went to Eastern Michigan University, majored in theater.
Right.
And then I worked with Uta Hagen, who was an acting coach.
Okay.
And she was, world famous, great, amazing. And then I got back from a little time in New York, and then I started waiting a lot of tables. And then,
so your trajectory was just like...
Yeah. Right in the middle. But then I went on a vacation and for like a weekend away in Michigan, and I was like, gosh, am I gonna wait tables for the rest of my life, or am I gonna actually do what I was trained to do? And when I came back, and I lived in Detroit at the time, I I just called Second City because I knew Second City was in Detroit at the time, and I called them and said, are you guys having auditions anytime soon? And they were the following week. Mm-hmm. And now, this is what's really crazy. I had only had one improv class in my life, and it was like for puppets. Like how to make puppets. And just talk. There was no yes and talk. There was no do not deny, none of that stuff. It was just make the puppets talk, and make up the dialogue. And I literally had zero improv training when I auditioned for Second City, and I should turn off my phone for that reason. But I got hired. Mm-hmm. Like literally, I don't know what happened. I slipped through the cracks somehow. And then
that's going to be an interesting part of because I've heard that from a few people. I mean, the usual path is people slogging out for years before they get a shot at Second City, but they don't really ask your experience often when you audition. So oftentimes people are they're good, and they don't realize they don't have
the proper training to sustain a show. Right, dude, it was crazy. But ultimately, I was in a place it was really special when I got hired at Second City, because I worked with Larry Joe Campbell, who was on the Jim Belushi Show as Andy, Keegan-Michael Key, obviously Naima Funk, who had her own show on TLC, Josh Funk, who directed many shows and is writing music for umpteen shows now and in acting, Margaret Erotowski, Nancy Hayden, who's just a writer on Detroiters, and Tim Robinson was in my first improv class. It was a really special place, man. And I look back on that time, and it was just it was crazy, man. How many amazing people have come out of that time in Detroit. So It was cool. And we really challenged each other, and that's, I think, and Mary Beth Monroe was there too, and gosh, the list goes on. Mark Evan Jackson. It's crazy. It's crazy. Sorry. No. It was just nuts.
And and how long were you in Detroit then?
I was in Detroit from July 30th, 1997 at 12:37 p.m. And I know.
Why do you know the time?
Because I came out of the interview with Rico Bruce Wade, who was also there at the time. He was the producer and tour co-director. And I came out and I just started jumping in the air once he said, okay, yeah, we're going to do this. You're hired. I was like, oh my gosh. I go outside and I just fell to my knees and I jump up in the air and I'm pumping my fists and I'm just screaming on the streets in Detroit. And I look up and open my eyes, and across the street is a restaurant that's all glass windows. And my mother is sitting in one of the seats, and everybody else in the restaurant is just looking at me. I'm like, I got it. But I walked in the restaurant, and my mother was immediately like, we're leaving.
She was so embarrassed.
But she was really happy that, I got the gig. And then from July 30th, 1997, 12:37 p.m. to 12:15, August 18th, 2003. Yep. That was my last night.
Yeah.
On main stage in Detroit. Then I came to Chicago.
You came to Chicago.
Then I was on main stage starting September 12th.
Oh, wow. Great.
Mm-hmm.
And... Wow. Okay. So what do you...
Sorry, a lot of dates.
No, I know. It's interesting because that was like a whole period. So you were on Second City main stage, and this was when I was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's like a big gap in my sort of Chicago knowledge of and a lot of things changed in those years too.
Right.
Things are very different now than they were in the 90s, and mostly in really good ways.
Right.
So tell me about what you're doing now. So this fall, a few months ago, right?
This fall, this past fall, September 3rd, actually, we opened the McKaw Theater. I opened it with. It's so funny. It's Detroit then again. The guy I opened the theater with is Tony Lowry, and he has a theater company called Theater Above the Law, and I have one called McKay Arts. So that's where the name McKaw comes from. We combined our names.
Right.
But Tony grew up literally down the street from me in Garden City. I grew up in a city called Inkster. We were both just outside of downtown Detroit, and we both went to the Eastern Michigan University, and then we both came here. And he's an actor here in the city, and he worked at the Piccolo Theater for a while. And we always talked about, gosh, I want to own space. I want to own space. And there was a few other times I almost did it with other people, and it just didn't work out, obviously. And then this past July, he was like, let's go for it. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's try to find a space. And
that space was a theater before.
Yeah, it was a side project before. And they were, they were looking to get more downtown to do more stuff with the dramatists here in Chicago. And so they, they offered up the space and said, here, they made the connection with us and the management company, and they were just really wonderful. And they left us a bunch of stuff. They gave us so much stuff, man.
Yeah.
It was crazy. They gave us a board, lights, seats. It was crazy. Yeah. And they were just like, take it. See, that's the love in theater, man. That's what it's supposed to be. That's awesome. It's awesome.
When you you've also been teaching. You've been teaching on your own in Chicago, like running your own classes for a while, right?
Yeah, we started McKay Arts in January of 2010. And my wife and I were renting a house in Evanston, so we cleaned out the biggest room we had, and we just painted it black and put up curtains, and that was our studio. And our first class had 8 people in it. And so every Saturday, we were flying around the house to clean up so that the people could come and try.
It's like me before every meeting I've had in here. Like, there's 3 days in between a meeting, this place goes to...
Right, exactly.
There's stuff everywhere.
And we have 6 kids, so that was hilarious. But then, and then, we had another class there, but then we grew and we had to find space to rent. And then we started renting from different places, different churches, different other companies, and then ultimately, we ended up in. We still have a rental space in Evanston where we have some of our classes because we can't do class and show, obviously, in the same space. But But yeah, the McKaw is there now. It's on 1439 West Jarvis.
And what are your classes more like? Are they improv? Are they acting? Is it some sort of hybrid?
It's
or do you
both.
do both?
We do both, but I certainly what I feel personally about to execute improvisation. Gosh, I think it takes acting, and to be a great actor, I think you have to understand improv because improv, I mean, it requires you to live in the moment so much, and if you don't, it falls apart. And acting requires that too. But I think there's such a truth and a purity to improv that I think it not only enhances you as a person, obviously, but I think it helps you as an actor so much because you're much more open to anything that happens instead of just learning the lines, running the show, doing that. It's great. Those things are great, and you can recreate those moments, and it's wonderful as an actor to do that. But I think improv allows you to live a little more outside of that structure. And if something does go wrong, you're prepared. If you might discover something new and take that risk or take that chance. And I think every actor needs to take an improv class, and I think every improviser needs to take an acting class. It's just going to help you.
Yeah. Do you know Rachel Mason?
Rachel Mason is one of my favorite improvisers. She is so funny, dude. That woman is hilarious. Yeah. Yes, I do know Rachel Mason.
So we're going to be teaching a scene blast with her.
Yes. I'm really excited about that because I'm like, there's people that you put on, levels when it comes to working with them, and like Rachel Mason is one of those people who's been doing this for a very long time, very well respected, has people follow her to where she's going to go perform, and I've never gotten to work with her or improvise with her. And
wow.
So
she's fun.
Yeah, exactly. And we've had conversations, but she's just a class act, and then on top of that, just a brilliant performer. And when you get to work with people like that, you're like, all right, we're living. We're living. We're not completely dumb.
Yeah.
We're making it. Right. So, yeah, I'm excited to work with her.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. The Scene Blast classes are always fun. Although it's interesting, like you're teaching with each other, but you don't get to hear each other's notes,
right?
Which is sort of strange. I almost wish we could record the notes out in the hallway, have a camera running, so we could go back later and listen to each other's notes. It'd be really interesting to what
that is
people
something
thought.
You could do, Kevin.
I know.
You can make it happen.
We're gonna be recording workshops here, and live streaming them on Twitch starting next week.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And this is a cool space too, man. You could turn this into a theater, dude. Like, for real.
I think my management company would have some words.
You know what? Apologize later is what I say. Like, what? I didn't know I couldn't knock down the wall. Put chairs in here.
That's true. That was my first thought when I came into this, because this is actually 2 rooms, this space, and
right.
But I can't.
Well, Kevin,
I can't get rid of my office.
I can help you if you want.
You have 6 kids ready to come over
exactly.
and knock down a wall for me.
Manual labor it up, dude. They will hook it up.
Is that what you do? Did you find get them to convince them that it's fun to do these things?
I convince no, but force yes. No. It's just because when you have a theater and you're running a show, it requires a staff, and if the staff is free, you're working. So no. My older kids have really enjoyed working at the theater. It's been fun to work with them. Mm-hmm. Now my kid Zach, he's my third oldest. He does not want anybody in the booth. He's like, "That's my booth. I run the booth. Nobody else does the booth." I'll go up there, and he's like, "Yes." I'm like, "What? Who are you?" It's like, Tut. Relax.
Don't micromanage him.
Right.
Do not micromanage him.
Exactly. No, but it's been fun to just and to watch them grow in that and see. The first couple of weeks were really rough because there was a lot of people on their phones, like, guys, there's people at the window. Can you take?
Right.
Oh gosh. All right. What? You're like, no, don't say what. No, they've been great though. It's been fun.
Cool. And do you have any like if people are going to come see one show over at McKaw, what should they come see?
You know what? We just actually and I think this is I can't say it just yet, but you know, we have a great sort of like main stage team called Hot Lava. Mm-hmm. And we're in the process of writing shows right now. Okay. Writing a show that we're going to open in April. And they've been together for over 2 years, and they've done a lot of shows. They were our opening show for the theater, and it's been that's been a lot of fun. We've been working with Improv Jane Austen, recently quite a bit, and I can't talk about it, Kevin. Stop making me talk about it. No, but they're incredible. They're incredible. And I've been doing a 2-person show also with Kristen Rao, who is hilarious, and it's just so fun to improvise with. And but I would say we have Improv Jane Austen coming up in February on Thursday nights at 10, along possibly with Kristen and I. We just have to check our schedules to see if we can. Hot Lava is going to be there, just doing some stuff too along those times. But we have a really cool thing coming up on Saturday nights. Before that, we're running a play. Our play kicks off on the 8th of February, and it's called Sorrows and Rejoicings by Otho Fugard. Okay. And that's going to have, starring Jeanette Singleton and Rebecca McKay, the lovely Rebecca McKay. Okay. Is going to be in that, and it's a wonderful one-act play. But after that, we are going to, there's a guy named Charlie Arsky, who, him and his improv group, each week they're going to write a live show. Okay. And put it up each week. So all the stuff that they put up is going to be brand new material. So they'll write an entire 45-minute sketch show every week. Wow. And put it up. So, yeah, they're crazy. They are absolutely nuts. And that'll go up at 10 o'clock every Saturday in February. So, all right. They're nuts.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with me.
Thanks, man. Kev, I'm so happy for you. This is great, man. This is so great.
If you're intrigued by Scene Blast, it's a workshop where 3 teachers teach. Actually, you get notes on every single scene you do by one of the teachers. The Scene Blast that we're teaching together is sold out, but there's others up.
Is it for real?
Oh yeah, it's sold out like a day after.
It's because you and Rachel.
Yeah, well, I announced Rachel, and half of it sold out in a day, and then I announced you like 2 days later, and the rest of it was really fast.
That's good.
But there's other ones. There's a really great one coming up with Megan Johns and Lily Allison.
Funny dude. Oh, dude, come on. They're great. Yeah. They're great.
And then we have one tomorrow as well on Saturday, and there's actually a spot opened up. Somebody backed out of the class, and so there's one spot in tomorrow's Scene Blast. Yeah. All right, thanks for doing this.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you so much, brother.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the Improv Resource Center. And if you want to see our last video, it's right about there.